And we just started day number 2, and I opened my mouth saying we were going to be first international harvesters to finish. And as you notice, everyone's on the side of the road with us, and we're missing something. Welcome to the shop. I'm Jared, and this is a Wrench Every Day. And next to me is our 1971 International Harvester 1010D pickup truck known as Johnny Rev. We put a Corvette front suspension in it, a Corvette engine, made it mid-engine that a lot of you still argue about. It's technically mid-engine. Stop arguing. It meets the definition. But anyway, we are going to be doing some wrenching on it today. And by today, I mean actually back in the past. I'm filming this in the future to throw you back to a fun event where we are going to take care of some brakes and rear end upgrades and general maintenance to get Johnny ready for the ultimate test of a project car, a road trip. And not just any road trip, a road rally. And not just any road rally, the Dust Ball Rally. And during the Dust Ball Rally, we get to run with some really nice sports cars, some really nice people, and see if we can keep this truck together and in one piece. Speaking of keeping things, today's sponsor, Keeps, can help you keep your hair. Keeps is changing the way men treat hair loss by offering a subscription service that delivers clinically proven FDA-approved medication direct to your house. Not only is it delivered directly to your house, it's generally at half the cost of in-person pharmacies. All treatment plans are custom tailored to you and doctor recommended. Also included is 1 year of 24/7 expert support with unlimited doctor messaging. Most patients start seeing results as soon as 6 months. 2 out of 3 men are going to experience some type of male pattern baldness by the time they're 35. Keeps offers clinically proven, scientifically researched treatments, and in a time where it's easy to forget everything, Keeps makes sure you don't forget about your hair with subscription reminders to let you know when you should be running low and make sure that treatment gets to your door in time to help keep that hair. Hair loss stops with Keeps. To save 50% on your first order, head on over to keeps.com/wrencheveryday or click the link in the description below. That's keeps.com/wrencheveryday. And as you can tell, the truck is partway taken apart already. I was going to just kind of jump in and do a couple small tweaks and just not film it. And then turned out I'm going a lot deeper down this rabbit hole. We are doing way too much in not enough time, which is how you should always approach getting ready for a big event. Take it completely apart. Well, we're not completely apart, but we're doing improvements to the rear differential, the rear suspension. We're trying to do some front suspension improvements, and this isn't our modification problem. The international trucks, their wipers just don't work, ever. So we're gonna see if we can't get them working. If not, we'll just put a whole lot of Rain-X on the windshield. So let me get you guys kind of caught up on what we've done, and then I'm going to go and talk to you about one of the improvements we're making to Johnny's rear end. It needed some attention. It was a little loose. All right, let me take you around and show you what we have already taken apart and get you caught up to speed. So we have wheels off of it. We have the axle shafts pulled out of the rear differential assembly, where I discovered one small problem with my brakes over here. So this is part of the adjuster that is supposed to connect, you know, there, and it doesn't anymore. So this is all brand new stuff that just managed to rust sitting and break away. So that's a simple fix. We pop these springs off, run the new cable, and that is good to go. We need to clean and re-grease our wheel bearings there. They are a little bit rough looking. They are in good shape. They just need a clean and service. Something that's kind of fun and interesting, these Internationals had a separate lubing circuit. Most solid axle rear trucks, these wheel bearings are lubricated by axle grease, but it is separate in this. On later trucks, I think Randy was mentioning it was like around 76, they tell you to remove that seal and you no longer have to pack them with grease. But you don't want to do that unless you're replacing the bearing and seal and you know it's good, because wheel grease won't get past that, but axle grease will. So we're going to get those cleaned up and serviced. We have the rear end, the little center pumpkin out, and those are on the table, and we'll go over those in detail here in just a minute, what we're doing there. Another thing we need to do is we've got new shocks for Johnny back here, where we're actually adding a cool spring assisted shock to give it a little more holding capability and improve that. What's neat is pretty much everything we're doing are just improvements. There's not a whole lot for repair. Something I am hoping to finalize for this event are new brakes for the front end. We are hopefully going to be installing basically race car brakes, you know, because that's what you need to do on a pickup truck. And I want to try to get some more ride height. There is a spring that it's hard to really show you on truck, but we will get the factory monoleaf off and I'll show you that adjustment. So it doesn't seem like a whole lot, but lots of small little things to hopefully make this truck keep up with some really, really nice fancy cars. And one cool thing is you want to keep watching because it's all one video. We're working on the truck and then you're coming on the rally with us. So with the rear differential carrier out of the truck, we can kind of go over what we're trying to upgrade. If you remember when we were drag racing, we had, well, the one tire fire, the one wheel peel. It wasn't good. Our burnouts, we could only spin one tire, and on a racetrack with a prep surface where I should have better traction, we had much worse traction. And that comes down to this differential carrier. Here is one assembled with the bearings and the ring and pinion. This is your ring gear. That would be mounted on here, and it sits in the differential like that. So your pinion comes in and it turns the rear end this direction, and your axle shafts come in each side. And they connect to these spider gears. The reason it's called a differential is it allows the rear wheels to turn at different speeds. They're differentiating, so it's a differential. And the way it does that in an open differential is the use of these spider gears here. So this set of gears are connected to the cross pin, which is connected to this carrier assembly. So it is always turning with the ring gear. And then the way it transfers power to your axles is if you're going in a straight line and it doesn't need to turn, it will start just moving as one unit. And then as you start moving through corners or doing burnouts, it changes the way the power is transferred through these spider gears here. And what will happen is, as this one is going forward, it will rob all that power and keep you from driving both wheels. And what we installed is what's called, some people call them Lunchbox Lockers. This is actually a Spartan brand locker where it's replaced all of the spider gears with a ratcheting mechanism that stays fully locked but can ratchet and pop and allow a slight differential. They're noisy, generally used for off-roading, but it's a very cheap solution to drive both wheels. And the way it's intended is for you to simply drive out one pin here, take your cross pin and put it in to your existing carrier. A very easy process. Normally, if you notice these punches here, I've bent and ruined a lot of them. I don't know why. I spent almost 2 days. I went to a friend's place who professionally builds rear ends, and he tried and broke a bunch of stuff too. This pin right there by my thumb, that little guy there that you would normally drive right out easily, refused to go out. Put a valiant effort into trying to get that apart, and it refused. So gave my friend Randy at GRC a call, and he had a spare Dana 44 carrier. A Dana 44 is the model of axle that's in the truck. It's a Dana Spicer unit, and he had the spare carrier, so I went and picked it up from him and transferred everything into this. So this is ready to go back into the truck. So let's get this back into Johnny's rear, and then we'll get started on the front of the truck.
Okay, we got those shock absorbers out. I want to show you, one, the new part we're putting in, and two, something to look out for anytime that you're doing your own shocks. It's a step I see missed a lot, and it can cause some major issues, even to the point of, if you don't have the right size washer, your shock coming off. So on the left here is our old tired shock, and if you look at this rubber bushing, you see the size difference between the two. And you can see here in top how oblong that is. And the reason is, when you buy these shocks, almost all of them are going to come with these new bushings. This metal bushing sits inside there and lets you apply the proper bolt torque. The bolt, when you tighten it, will actually pinch this metal against the mounting hardware and allows the bushing to just ride and do its job. If you end up not using one of these, you sandwich your bushing and damage it. So it ends up not lasting as long as it should, although I think they got the good out of that shock. If you don't know, the shock should, one, resist being compressed, and two, well, it should, you know, come back out, and it's not. So the rear shocks were doing absolutely nothing. So I probably could have just got normal shocks, but I went ahead and upgraded to these helper shocks. What this spring does is it adds a little bit additional progressive spring rate to my rear leaf spring, so that way when we load it up with trash, wood, whatever, it holds a better ride height. It's also going to help me when towing, because the plan is to build a tow hitch on the back of this and drag, you know, our project cars around. Like when Earl gets finished, taking him to burnout events, because, you know, why not use the really old, cool farm truck instead of, you know, your nice, comfortable towing rig. So let's get these thrown in, so that way we're kind of buttoned up with the parts we have for Johnny's rear, because there's still one more thing coming for it, and then we'll get started in the front. I was able to pick up probably the biggest upgrade that we're going to do to the truck to get it ready for this rally, and that's some new brakes. Also, Pierre's here. Hi, Pierre. Sit. You're just not gonna do it. Sit. Go, girl. High five. High five. Good girl. Okay, back to the brakes. So this is the factory Corvette front brakes. They are generally very good for a Corvette, and well, Johnny weighs a lot more than a Corvette. So this is I'm trying to remember, I believe it's a 2-piston. Yeah, it's 2 pistons, meaning there are 2 hydraulic chambers where the brake piston pushes out against that inside brake pad, and then it has slides, so as it pushes out, those slides, it'll actually pull and pinch on your brake rotor. What we've got are some big AP Racing track brakes. These are 6 pistons. You have 1, 2, 3, and another 3 on the back, along with a very nice, robust, and kind of beefy caliper body so it doesn't flex when you're applying all of that brake pressure.
Something that's actually a little bit interesting is the brake pad is just a little bit smaller than the factory Corvette, but it tends to be a thicker pad, and our biggest upgrade is here in this brake rotor. This thing is huge compared to the factory one. It's a two-piece rotor with just massive cooling vents. Just spinning it by hand, you can feel the air moving in comparison to this, the stock one. So, just for fun, let's see how much bigger. It's hard when you need two hands to move everything around. Also, Harbor Freight worktop holding up pretty well in the toolbox. I've not been nice to it, but they are about the same thickness, but what you gain is better cooling and quite a bit of brake diameter. So maybe on camera that doesn't look like much, but when you think about almost a ½ inch around the entire brake rotor, that is a lot of metal to take out heat. Right, Pyrrha? You're so serious today. If you're wondering what it looks like on the truck, we've already got one side mounted up with some wheel spacers. So I need to pick up some brake fluid so we can bleed this out. There's quite a bit of fluid involved. And then we're going to get the brakes on, and I think the next time we're going to pick up is at the start of the road rally with some nice cars. So time lapse, then we're going to go racing. Just started into day one of the Dust Ball GT. Since so many people think projects don't get finished, I am taking Johnny Rev on a sports car rally to prove it is a good working truck. So we've already run a little bit. We're going to run some GoPro time lapse and video and just have a really good time hauling this truck around the mountains, and we'll show you some of the other cars that are out here. But man, whole lot of fun so far. We've only driven an hour and a half. Johnny's doing a good job of keeping up with the fancy cars, but we're gonna go see some stuff that's here and then take a look around Old Car City. Traffic, and we've got Henry driving Johnny, and his first response is, "This is unlike anything I have ever driven." Is that good or bad?
Well, this is good. It's wild. It's entirely different.
So we don't have tires and really the brakes to keep running with the cars if they get on full pace, but again, this is a little bit more laid back, so we've been hanging out with the super fancy cars and having a great time. We forced a fuel stop. That gauge is normally very accurate. I came down to the hotel, we stopped to get fuel in the morning, and it took almost nothing, and then the gauge quit working. Then it started working, and we were going into the corners, and it was running out of gas, so we just pulled over, and the 14-gallon tank took 13.6 gallons. So, also, if we look at Henry's ear, he's wearing earplugs. As much as I love the fantastic exhaust note of Johnny, if we're honest, it's a little loud for a road trip. But, so, we've got some time lapse. We're going to get a little more filming done with the Dust Ball crew, and we'll just keep on this adventure. But so far, Johnny is doing a fantastic job running with the sports cars. Another quirk of the truck, it goes through gas very quickly, but not through the engine. It spills out, and then when it's at half a tank, it doesn't take any gas. You've got to run it all the way empty to refill it. So it's a little problematic when you're out in the middle of nowhere, but we're coming up with a solution to try to slow leaking, and we'll just have to stop for fuel a little later. All right, so our fuel leaking problem was solved, and the other way we could confirm it was leaking when we were braking and turning left is you can see our clean spun, but our handy rag and plastic worked, and we were able to put fuel back into it. So, you know, improvise, and it's gonna leave everyone asking what the heck is wrong with the truck, but it works. All right, Henry, we've gone from cannonballing a school bus to now driving Johnny up the Sharatola Skyway. What do you think of it?
Oh, it's awesome. This is that truck is something else. The sheer noise and power it makes when you first punch it is incredible. You have a couple issues with fuel retention, with the noises that locking diff makes, a little gear lube drip here and there, a few small things like that. But overall, it's awesome. It's an amazing vehicle.
Yeah, it's a whole lot of fun, and it's great seeing it up here. We're blasting along with a good group of company. Now, I think if any one of these cars went full send, you know, like a M5 CS, like
yeah, we wouldn't hang for very long.
We couldn't keep up. So we'll say they're throwing us a bone.
Yeah,
traffic's throwing us a few bones.
Yep.
But
it's a beautiful day here in Tennessee.
And
can't beat it.
If only you could actually get the depth of this. But we got more driving to do.
Yeah, we do.
As the sun sets on day one, Johnny's still in one piece. We had a fantastic run down the parkway right after the Dragon with the Hitchcocks and the M5. Car could be quicker, but they were happy to just dance a little bit there, and we had the Hoffs and the C8 right behind. Henry, how many times did you scream?
4, I think, was the final count.
Teen?
4.
Teen.
Just 4.
But we had a great time. The truck's doing great. This is a cool little kitschy spot, and I'm excited to get a good night's rest because real life timeline context, we have just flown in yesterday morning to finish up from our bus cannonball, so we're tired. we just started day number 2, and I opened my mouth saying we were going to be first international harvesters to finish. And as you notice, everyone's on the side of the road with us, and we're missing something. No, the wheel spacers didn't break. I drove the wheel off of it. Big sticky tires, hard cornering, and it exploded that wheel bearing. And yeah, and I hit my own truck with my own tire. So, turns out Johnny wasn't quite rally ready. Everything we did is working fantastic, but original 1971 parts, 50 plus years old, are probably not quite ready to go blasting around mountains. So we are going to try to run into town, get cell service, get a tow truck, find a rental, and work on getting the truck back down to the shop. Obviously, that's not how you want your road trip and rallying experience to go, but I can't be upset. And if you look around, I'm alone, no one's here. That's because I had to basically argue with them to continue on and go have a good time. The Dust Bowl family is amazing. They didn't want to leave me here waiting. One of the guys took Henry back into town where we got cell service to try to get a hold of AAA and a rental car, so we can get Johnny headed back to the shop, where we'll figure out why the axle decided to depart the truck, namely sticky tires and old wheel bearings. But we need to fully diagnose why and figure out what we're going to do with him, because I love driving him and really can't drive it like that. So yeah, the fact that you have friends that you have to almost yell at to tell them to go enjoy their day and not to worry about sticking behind because the situation's handled. They're great people. The really cool thing is Dust Bowl is open to anyone. So if you have a chance, you really should at least do a GT and meet these guys. And you get to see really cool stuff like this. I mean, there's worse places to break down, right? I may look for some string, drop a little line in the stream, and wait for a tow truck. I guess this is a good spot to also end the video, since it was the repairing Johnny, getting him ready for a sports car rally, taking him on a sports car rally, and reaching the finish line. And this is my finish line, but that's okay. I'm content with this. It gives us a chance to continue to upgrade Johnny and just proves there's no such thing as a finished project. But as always, I'm Jared, reminding you guys to always make questionable choices. And when it comes to 50-year-old wheel bearings, maybe change them before going on a sports car rally. We'll see you.